Hi, this is Set 6, and this artist lecture will be broken up into two parts. I really want you to focus on the first part and then the second part separately so you can kind of separate them. The PDF for the lecture is in one, but we're just going to focus on the mandalas, which is 2.17, which is more concentrics mandala motif. So you're going to use the mandala motif to create a symbolic portrait. Now, this isn't a literal portrait, but a symbolic portrait. And this is why we looked at chapter 3 a little early, even though we're still in chapter 2. Think about symbols and the meanings of objects and how they all relate together. So the studio action says you're going to create an image of a person or an object in the center space. So that's going to be for my example, I'm using Barbie, and I'm thinking about the ideas of girlhood. So you're going to, don't just put like your grandma and like pictures of your aunts and uncles around it, because that's a little obvious and the viewer may not get that connection. However, let's say you put something that's a little bit more open. So I'm going to do Barbie for my example, because it's relevant to my artistic practice. So I'm thinking about things that relate to her within my motif. And this is something you would think about. So this is a larger assignment. It's worth 50 points. So the idea behind your project is going to be pretty heavily judged as well, and you'll do the a questionnaire for this one as well. So before we get started, we need to understand mandalas, because understanding mandalas is going to help you respect the practice, but also go into it as a larger maybe idea. So it's a spiritual and ritual symbol in Indian religions, representing the universe. In common use, mandala has become a generic term for a diagram, chart, or geometric pattern that represents the cosmos metaphysically or symbolically, a microcosm of the universe. So the basic form is a square with 4 gates containing a circle with a center point. And each gate is in a general shape of a T, and mandalas are often radial balanced. So think about the composition radial balance that you can use. So there's 2 to 3 dimensional geometric compositions in the mandalas. They're for meditative rituals. And so they're considered to represent the abode of the deity, and they're each unique, and they call into the deity to the presence of the practitioner through elaborate geometric designs. So mentally, when you enter a mandala, proceeding to its center, the person is symbolically guided through the cosmos, through the essence of reality. By constructing a mandala, the monk ritually participates in Buddha's teaching. So creating them is very ritual and spiritual, but also going through them through your mind. So 4 monks will work together on a single mandala, and they're divided into 4 quadrants with 1 monk assigned to each. They're constructed from center out, beginning with a dot in the center. The place in the center dot in the mandala is really concentrated to a specific deity. The deity will usually be depicted in an image over the center dot or through, although some are just completely geometric. Then lines are drawn out to the 4 corners, creating a triangular geometric pattern. These lines are often used to construct a square palace with 4 gates, and the monks stick to their own quadrant, and they work sort of together inwards and outwards, thinking about the balance that they all work together. So there's color themes that may be of interest, that may be something that you may employ within your project. So these are what traditional mandalas look like. So you have the deity in the center and everything's coming out within gates. And you can see the practice here. It's very precise. It takes a lot of practice. And here's another one of the monks working together. So often, and when you've probably seen more mandalas out here, the sort of Western psychological interpretations. So according to art therapist and mental health counselor Susan F. Fincher, we kind of think about Carl Jung when we're looking at mandalas. So he sketched every morning in a notebook a small circular drawing, which seemed to correspond to his inner situation at the time. Only gradually did I discover what the mandala really is, the self, wholeness, personality, and if it all goes well, harmonious. So psychologically, mandalas and art therapy are really closely together. So, which is probably why you see them so much in these adult coloring books, just be meditative. So creating mandalas stabilize, integrate, and reorders inner life. But we often, people are drawn to circles and roundness. We see them as comfort. We see them comfort because we relate them to the face, apparently. And so think about the psychology of it may also help you with your project. So we're going to look at some random different types of mandala patterns. So while we are looking more so a specific symbolic portrait with a mandala, but looking at others for inspiration may inspire us further. Where we're going to place something in the center, and you may have different coordinates out, things where they flip back and forth. And definitely playing with your transformation, reflect, and rotate tools will be very key with this unit. I thought of a lot of, I'm always bringing it back to fibers, and I thought a lot about the fibers here. Now you may use photographs, and this may be a different way to appropriate some photographs within your process. Maybe you get really, really trippy with it. Kaleidoscopy. This is one representing the zodiac signs, which I've seen quite a few this year, not this year, in my past. So I'm going to urge you not to do anything astrology related, please. I've seen a lot of it. Different photographic approaches. Again, these are similar, but these are not exactly what we're looking for. So using one thing over and over again will not work. But this practice and maybe images in a circle instead of things completely cut out could be inspiring. Maybe you expand your canvas out a little. Student works. This could be more appropriate for inspiration for the assignment. So I had a student who wrote a story, and they actually took a little bit of a break in the mandala, the circular pattern. So thinking this is time and time in heartbeats, and something's happening in this coordinate. Really think about how each element relates to the center part is going to be very key. The student was a sommelier, so they worked in wine. Student thought a lot about gambling and the loss and the party of it all. Sort of inspired by Art Deco. I'm thinking of birds and somewhat a part of a life cycle. And this has to do with femininity and womanhood. So a lot of art history references in this one. All right. So definitely think about, do some sketches, share with your friends some of the ideas that you have. And I'm excited to see where you go with this. And definitely watch the instructional videos. There's 2 different ways to approach this in both Photoshop or Illustrator, which will be really fun.